We are live. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to HOGARTH'S Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. The two are interchangeable, and we are here with another HoGaLeSh. Yes, we are here with another HoGaLeSh. And we've got your questions in. You've asked lots of questions, but of course, give me a moment to allow me to introduce my guests. So here, actually, when I was clicking on the buttons, we're all in a slightly different order today. But as long as Lena is in the lower part of the screen, she's fine.
Otherwise we can't deal.
Otherwise, she can't proceed. So, of course, over here to my right, I think is showing on the screen, we have Sheila, of course, from Celtic Tarot. Diagonal. I need to go like this way.
Oh, fancy.
We've got Lady G Tarot, of course, looking fabulous as always, with a wonderful kind of fuchsia and gold, something gorgeous. And of course, down under, in a sort of like, what is that? It's not a mint green. That would be
I think it's sort of lime green, but we won't go any further where I've still got my pajamas on.
And I'm in black.
I'm not joking.
Oh, brilliant. Because of course it is Sunday morning for Lena, of course. So apologies for starting the show a little bit late today, folks. That was my fault. It was a bit busy weekend, but I will say I've seen the film Maria today. That's the one with Angelina Jolie. Plays the biopic of Maria Callas, who of course was an extraordinary opera singer. Many of you may know of her, and it was about her life and stuff like that. It was a good film. Now today, the questions are in, ladies. The questions are in. Some of them are questions, some of them are statements. So I'm going to try and balance it out. But as you know, we like to dive into the show and answer as many questions as possible. So are we ready for question number one, ladies?
Absolutely. We are.
All right. Okay, so question number one, this is coming from Nick Minks, who I think has been able to return from Ireland. I think with her last question, she was caught up in the storm. You know, there was that storm Airwen, something like that, that let rip through the top of the UK. It didn't touch London, but it affected a lot. Anyway, so the question is, what will Davos do in regards to dump, she says, which is Trump, for entertainment purposes only? Will they kiss the ring, or will they undermine Dumpy's determination for global domination? So this is Davos, which is basically the World Economic Forum, and they meet once a year in Switzerland. They've just met, or it's still going on. So what will Davos do in regards to Trump? Will they kiss the ring, or will they undermine Trump's determination for global domination? Good question, eh?
And his speech, if you could call it that, you could actually hear gasps from other leaders at some point.
That's what I heard. Wow.
It was such inane drivel and bullying bravado, and it was just...
You mean you're talking about Trump's speech, right?
Yeah, it was shockingly bad.
Yeah.
And well, God knows he's had a few bad ones, like every time he opens his mouth.
But well, you know, what is that old saying says? They may think you an idiot, but don't open up your mouth and prove it.
Yeah, that's him.
That's him. They may think you an idiot, but every time Trump opens up his mouth, he proves it.
But yeah, apparently now Davos has a lot of global leaders, and I must say I'll be slightly worried if Davos is our only defense against the worst instincts of Duck Orange, because they're not necessarily great either. But the fact that there were audible gasps from world leaders, which all convene at this place, I think it says quite a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Who's ready to go first?
I should go.
Go for it. Go for
So
it, Lady G.
there's a lot of stress with them as the monk speaks, and they've got the deeper knowledge about it. They feel a great intensity with what's going on under the surface when it comes to Trumpenstein. And they're turning in and trying to figure out what to do with this conundrum that we're having to deal with, the difficulty of it. The challenge is, as far as him in the White House, he is an outsider. They're not letting him in. They're locking him out and just saying, we've got to have a patience with this dark cloud entity that we're dealing with.
Yeah, I can go if you like, Hoagie.
Go for it, Lena.
Okay, well, it starts with the death card. And I think what this is implying in this context is they actually finally realize this is the death of the old way of doing diplomacy, business, trade talks, everything. They realize after this that it'll never be the same again. They're talking with each other a lot. Right. They have to work out where their strengths and allegiances now lie, because basically the theme coming through is they've got to think independently of him and independently of America, no longer a trustworthy ally. So they're building their own thing. But it's not clear yet. This is a recalibration of the world order, and you can't just go, oh, well, the US is spinning, we'll do it this way. It's so difficult and complicated. So, and I'd agree with Lady G, that stress is driving this.
Fascinating. Sheila, what do you have?
Well, I did get that he's grieving the old happy family, the old happy way of doing things that everybody is like, we can't rely on the United States anymore. We got this guy. Although, so they have the grieving of that, although there has been some people wanting to do some planning with Trump. They've kind of approached it a little bit. They're like, hey, we got something, we got this, but what happens is that they just realize that Mar-a-Lago guy needs justice. They just do not see him as viable or valuable to them, and they consider it a burden. A bad burden for, you see the tombstones on this one? It's a big huge burden to them. The United States has now become a burden to them, unfortunately. And I had the Two of Wands. They, like Lena said, they have no idea what to do. And they feel like they're dealing with the dark horse. You know, they don't, it's almost like, oh, we've got another one that we have to now worry about.
Yeah.
It's like that. They're really worried.
Yeah.
They take what seriously, so should we. But you know, they're really seeing more. I think they're seeing more danger in him than we are, because we've been just inundated with every time. But they're seeing something else.
Yeah.
I think what that my cards are telling me the most is they're seeing something different. I hate to put like a spin on it. It's like Sheila's so doom and gloom, but that's what my cards say.
Yeah.
You just got to read your cards at the end of the day, isn't it? Let's give a little bit of
it is a terrible time in history.
Yeah, it is a terrible time in history, and no, I don't think that he is going to side with Trump at all. He doesn't have any like any feelings toward it either way, but he just has this. He has a settlement inside of him, and he says that's not where we're going to go. That's kind of what I feel. Like. No, we can't do that.
Just so you know, Davos is a group. It's an economic forum. So it's not like a he or a she, but it's an but you were reading the energy. You're reading the energy.
I'm just saying it wrong. I'm so sorry.
Oh no problem. And someone was just saying here, oh, I clicked up. There was something that I wanted to click on which I missed. I thought I clicked on it, but Jeffrey says, "Can you believe we're here again with the orange bird?" And someone said that they were talking to someone. Oh, crumbs. I wonder if I can find it, because I thought I clicked on it, but there's so many of you joining us in the chat. So welcome. Thank you so much. That I thought I clicked on it and it ran through. But basically, someone was saying they were going through a drive-through petrol pump or something like that. Or maybe it was a drive-through for food. And it was a Trump voter saying they basically regretted their vote for Trump and basically admitted that they were right. Isn't that fascinating? And I wanted to click on it to read out that quote, but oh, here it is. Here, this is it. I think I found it. Let's see here. Yeah, just so Sandy says, I went through a drive-through beverage store. There we are. And the guy who runs it said that he regretted voting for evil Trump. He said I was right. Wow. Yeah.
The leopard ate my face.
I think there's already a bit of exactly. I think there's a little bit of I think a bit of a buyer's remorse, as they say. Right. What cards do I have? Are we all good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you froze, but you're right again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I wanted to. Perfect. I think it's also as well, there's a lot of people coming in the chat. There's already over 1,600 of you here. So thank you so much for joining us. Everyone's coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah, very early for that kind of number as well in the night. Right. Davos. What are they going to do about him? So what will Davos do in regards to Trump? Will they kiss the ring, or will they undermine Dumpy's determination for global domination? Sorry. So if we look here, we get the Magician card. So in a way, like, Davos are really taking this seriously. I think like everyone's cards are saying, like, they are talking. They're not going to be talking necessarily publicly about what their plans are, but people, countries are talking. It's like they're talking about Elon, yeah, and there's some important developments that have happened there. And what is this? As we know, this is an extremely determined card. The Magician card is one of the most powerful in the deck, but it talks about using every tool at one's disposal. And I think this might be Davos's approach of kind of like, we are going to have to use every tool at our disposal in order to try and maintain some semblance of world order. You see what I mean? That's how I'm interpreting that card. And then when you see who shows up in the obstacle position, it makes absolute sense. The Emperor. Trump is the opposition, to the world order, quite literally.
Yeah.
Sometimes the cards are so simple, aren't they? So you can see he is a threat to the global order. There is a lot of upset. We've got the 5 of Cups here. But with this card, of course, 3 are spilt, but 2 are left standing. So there's going to be an element where they're gonna have to try and salvage what they can, because he does have the role. But if we look here, there's going to be a lot of collaboration behind the scenes. You see, we got the 3 of Pentacles here. So from what I've also understood, they're saying intelligence agencies in Europe and the rest of the world have already made the decision that they're going to be very limited in terms of what they give Trump, the Trump administration, because they know it's super leaky. So I think this is them kind of making their own private alliances as well in terms of their shared vision, which may not necessarily involve the new administration. But if we look here, we get the 7 of Cups. 7 of Cups. Now, we know that this can be a card of illusions and delusions, but it's not always that simplistic. It can mean having a plethora of choices or feeling overwhelmed by the decisions that have to be made. And some of the answers of the way you solve Trump you know, it leads to quite outlandish outcomes, because this is unprecedented, where there's never been, like, the ally of America has never been this discombobulated before. So for the world, this is also extremely challenging. They're not quite sure what to do. They are definitely talking. Yeah. They know they have to take action, and they're working on a plan, you know, to deal with the emperor, and they know everyone's upset, but they're not 100% sure what to do.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. Anything to add to that, ladies, before the next?
Nope, I think you.
Oh. All right, let's move on to the next question then. So question number 2. This is coming from Denise Ferguson. Thank you, Denise, for your question. Oh, let's see. Wait, this might be a statement. She says, hi there. She said, this isn't a question, but I wanted you to know, immediately after Hegseth was sworn in as Secretary of Defense, Trump fired all the inspector generals. These are the people who hold the government accountable for fraud and waste. And she's saying this gives you an insight to what Trump is up to. So maybe we should read. Oh, and then they've said Trump has issued an executive order to halt all funding for the Internal Revenue Service. Oh my God.
I know, it stopped everything.
This is incredible. Internal Revenue Service and infrastructure laws. This affects projects in red states. Will Republicans stand up to Trump on this? So let's look at some of this. These executive orders. Ladies, what is your opinion on Hegseth being sworn in as Secretary of Defense? What are your feelings about that? Sheila, you first.
I just, it's one criminal after another. I mean, he's one of the top criminals to be sworn in for sure. He's a drunk. He's this, that, and the other. But I do want to remind everybody that his executive orders they're like a wish list. There's some things that he can do as a power of the presidency, but a lot of the orders is more like a wish list. He still needs, you know, the House and the Senate to do it. So there's some time that we have on that. But I was not surprised that they let him go through. Anything that the Democrats fight against, they're gonna do. They're like, oh, they don't like it. Okay, let's get to it. That's their only goal at this point. I wish they would just shut up. To be honest, just let them do it. And then they would have they would have to not hear, because they get really visceral when the Democrats don't like something they're doing.
Lady G, as a veteran.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Hegseth, Lady G?
He's horrid. He doesn't want transgenders. He doesn't want women in the military. So, yeah, he's just absolutely horrid. He says women are there to put training wheels on bikes for the kids, and the men are there to challenge people. Yeah, so he, you know, yeah, he's just bad.
I wonder if they're going to follow. Go ahead.
It's dramatically awful, no matter how you look at it. And this is where Trump is so dumb. If he wants to go and do all these things, he should have a prime, person in that role who is capable of carrying out even his horrific things, right? But Hegseth is just inadequate, ugly, drunk, totally pathetic creature, and couldn't be a worse appointment. You could scour the states from east to west, north to south, and you couldn't get a worse appointment.
And he's so unqualified. He's never done this. And my thinking is on this also is, will they follow him? He's their boss.
This is the big question.
That is the big question. I mean, are they going, because they know who he is, are they going to listen to them? Are they going to fight against him? I'm just kind of curious of what they're going to do.
Good question. Good question. Let's have a little segue because we're going to go back into things, executive orders, etc. It will weave back and forwards. I think this is a good one that's worth mentioning, and this is a little bit of a prediction that I made where I said Trump may change his stance a bit on China because obviously a certain Muskie, has a lot of business with China. And then this is interesting. So Denise again, and this is a good one, says, China and Trump appear to be going through a friendly period with no mention of tariffs. Will this last, or will Trump end up putting tariffs on China? Good question. Let's have a look.
Okay.
So we're going to read on that instead of the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to. So what did you want to? Do you want to read on Hegseth?
No, I think we've had our say about him, and
yeah, no, I thought we were reading on with him. Getting rid of all the IGs.
Oh, I'm going to come back to that.
Oh,
okay.
In fact, I mean, look, we could. How about we do the IGs and then we do China? How about that? Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I already have my things pulled for the IG.
Oh, you've already pulled your
good.
card.
Go for it.
Fine. Go for it. Well, you start, and then I'll pull my cards as well.
So
And
these are inspector generals whose job it is to spot, corruption and bad behavior in agencies. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and to do the Doge and all of that stuff kind of goes with it as well. So what I got was the lid is off, and they're looking at this divergent path that he's trying to do with that, and they're in the middle of the crossfire with that. So they're going to be looking at it. And of course, we had the energy coming into it as the high priest, the hidden things. And the hidden things are going to be about Trump and the White House. And with that, we have the asphalt jungle that's taking place in the White House. These are my new cards, my the movie Noir Tarot. So when it comes to the Republicans and looking at Trump and what's going on with the IGs, he's going to be the odd man out, because what happens with it, they're supposed to give a 20-day thing to say that we're doing that. And he didn't do that. He just sent out things and said, you're fired.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the challenge with that is the postman always rings twice. So he's going to try to get away with it. These are his desires, and it's just something that they're going to have to deal with. Not easy, because we have with him a touch of evil, as usual.
Great cards.
And with his moon madness and his dark, mental agenda. So, they're going to look at it and just go, no, there's so many lawsuits coming up too with him doing things that are really against the law and against the Constitution.
Yes, absolutely. Who's ready to go next?
I can, if you like.
Yeah, Lena?
I think this is a question that's going to keep coming back on all our channels too, because he just does it. So ruthless, impulsive, at the same time, everyone's confused by what's going on, because you had a job last night, you haven't today, a whole department is under you waiting for further instructions, and it's just thrown out the window. He'll get away with whatever he can get away with, because no one seems to stop him. Don't like this card. He'll start throwing people into prison who challenge him.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a hardcore. But the legals they'll be working overtime to try and slow this nightmare down. And I think they'll be able to slow it down in this thing and that thing, but you can't even keep across it all. It's mad.
Chaos, isn't it? Flood the zone, as they say.
Yes.
Yeah. Sheila, what do you have? What do you have for us?
Well, the King of Pentacles went into his evil ways again.
Yeah.
And my card says that he's looking for his family, his loyalties.
Yeah.
People who are loyal to him. Although there are people that are there and existed, now they're having some inner turmoil about this. They have, and it's keeping them up at night. There's some inner turmoil about this. But they, at the end of the day, he's going to find the people who are going to go along with his plan.
Yeah.
But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. That somebody somewhere, something happens, that there's somebody lights a candle and he can't do anything about it. So that was one card that came out on the opposite end, like all of this is happening and what is his goal? Yeah. But I don't know who, what, where, and when without doing a reading on it, but somebody lights a candle at the end of it. Stop. Something happens. Something derails the demon from his luscious goal.
Indeed. I just want to say a quick, some quick thank yous as well for those. So,
Thanks,
let's
Foggy.
see here. So just doing a quick click up.
So
Thank
loyal.
you, Foggy, so much. Much appreciated. And
Thanks,
Kathleen, and she says, don't you think the EU and the Hague will come together with election interference charges against Muskrat, which could lead directly to US interference and election interference charges soon? Possibly. I would say Europe is taking Muskie's interference a lot more seriously.
Yes, than the US
and it's not
did.
to the USA, but they really are taking it seriously. They're even talking about locking him up. Rose Blue, thank you so much. Hegseth needs to go back to his mud hole, she says. Mary Jo Bai, thank you so much for your donation. Much appreciated. And Tricia as well. Thank you so much for your kind donation. Of course, it's shared with the ladies. All right, let me read my cards here. And this is remarkable. We've got 2,313 of you here with us so far, so early on into the show. So much appreciated. Thank you so much for joining us and contributing with your questions, with your comments and your donations. It's really appreciated. So thank you so much. So with this whole thing that Trump has done with his, you know, they say the pen is mightier than the sword, but bloody hell, you know, Duck Larange really, he really takes the piss, doesn't he, with his, you know, you know, it's, I mean, it looks like a heart scan, you know, monitor, isn't it? His signature, but there you are. He's using it. So if we look here, we get the Page of Pentacles, which of course can talk about money and stuff like that. Pages are about messages. This can talk about money, but in some ways, really, when the Page of Pentacles turns up in government kind of stuff, it often can refer to cuts, financial cuts, cutting back, and he's just getting rid of people. If we look here, particularly when we look at the obstacle card, look at that. I mean, it's so clear, isn't it? Ten of Swords, betrayal, stabbed in the back. Literally, all of this talk of, I mean, it's not completely surprising because he referred to veterans, didn't he, as suckers and losers and all of this kind of stuff. It was always there. Maybe these military leaders, maybe even they were shocked at the severity and the depth of the betrayal. I think they knew there was a whiff, there was talk, but he doesn't always deliver on his talk. This is kind of categorical proof. They've been absolutely stabbed in the back, and it doesn't seem to matter how long they've served. This, of course, is going to seize things up, but this is also a change in perspective. But this is also going to do certain things to the whole infrastructure of the army and all of those departments when you get rid of that many people. So it's like, you know, it's the hanged man, it's suspended. it can't move forward. No one can give instruction. But it's also this change of perspective as well, where I think this is where a lot of veterans that maybe voted for Trump, this might be one of the times truly when they're going to start changing their perspective, because it's so egregious. If we look here, the King of Pentacles, again, wanting to satisfy his wishes. This can easily be Trump. It could also be Elon, but this one doesn't smell too much like Elon to me. And then I think it's much more obviously Trump. And then look, the Four of Pentacles. So there's this sense of trying to hold on, trying to hold it together under this barrage of attack, these sackings. And then you've basically also as well, of course, this could also be Hegseth as well, because pages can also speak about people that are young or inexperienced. So I think the inexperienced person at the helm, the betrayal of the orders, everyone's in a state of suspension, frozen because of Duclarange, and they're trying to hold on, and it's going to have this kind of paralyzing effect. I don't think it's good for national security personally, but anything
not for a minute, no. But what my personal hope is generally with all this is the legal system, because there are lawsuits raining down, that it'll clog up the legal works and slow him down. That's all you can hope for 2 years till the midterms. Yeah, because court cases take years. So that's, I think, bigger picture. Hogarth, there's been calls for the Bard, and I thought the Bard on Hegseth.
Hegseth. Yeah, absolutely. Hegseth. We've not read on him, have we? So who read last? I think, is it Lady G? I think it's your turn now.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, okay. I think so. Trying to think who read last time.
Doesn't matter. Go for it.
I can't remember. All right. So this will be the Bard's take on... It was Lena last time, actually. I remember, yeah. So this will be the Bard's take on Hegseth. So you know the routine. Just tell me when to stop.
And stop.
Oh my gosh, the Bard. The Bard. I'm just going to read. I've just looked at the first 2 lines and I'm like, here we go.
I'm really excited now. Let's go.
I think it tunes in. Listen to this. This has come from King John. Your breath first kindled the dead coals of wars and brought in matter that should feed this fire, and now 'tis far too huge to be blown out with that same weak wind which enkindled it.
We've never had that before.
Oh,
never. I didn't even know that was in there. I have to read it again, isn't it? Let's just read it one more time, because I'm like
thinking about Pete Hegseth, right?
Yeah, as the basically being in charge of the War Department. He's Secretary of Defense. So your breath first kindled the dead coals of wars. So to breathe onto a dead coal is to reheat it again, give it life, give it fire, and brought in this matter that should feed this fire, and now 'tis far too huge to be blown out with that same weak wind which enkindled it. So it's basically saying, like the Bard is saying, they are playing with fire. They are blowing on the coals of war, but the conflagration could get so big but they are of too weak a character to put out the fire that they're creating.
Yeah.
Agreed. It's going to get out.
Oh my God. I think this is a moment in HoGaLeSh.
I think that is profound, isn't it? Think of how many times we've read through this book, and that has never come out, not once. And then we read on Hegseth and we get that. That is wow. Oh, I've got the spooks.
I know, I'm getting goosebumps.
Ooh, give me the shivers. Give me the shivers. All right, shall we move on to the next question?
Sorry, what, Sheila?
He's going to start something he cannot control.
Yes, exactly what it's about.
Yeah, that he can't control.
Yeah.
They're playing
easy
with
to get into it. Easy to get into it.
But
yeah. Playing with
not
fire.
So easy to get out.
Indeed. All right, so the next question is, so we're going back to China now. Okay. So China and Trump appear to be going through a friendly period with no mention of tariffs thus far. Will this last, or will Trump end up putting tariffs on China? Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Ali. I have to talk about, some people are listening a little bit later. I am so sorry. I misspoke about Davos. I now know, and I know it was a group. And when I was talking, I was thinking he. So I apologize. I'm so sorry.
No. But that's why reads are important when you're not all across some issue, because you're just getting it from the heart and from spirit. Don't give it a thought.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. I do cold reads.
Cold reads are the best. I love the cold reads.
It's so important.
I'm just saying, goodness
I love
gracious.
a cold read.
So the Yeti and China.
China tariffs. As you know, I mentioned that Elon will try and throw a bit of cold water on tariffs with China, even though, of course, Duc Larange has spoken significantly about it, because of course that would hurt Elon's bottom line. But we've got an Elon question coming up. He's in a bit of trouble.
He's in Germany right now.
You're joking.
Thank you.
He's in Germany. He's in Germany talking to the Conservative Party right now.
It's not even the Conservative Party. It's far right.
Far right crazies. I'm like, I wonder if he's going to throw how much heart he has over there. Do it in front of the Germans. Do that in front of the Germans.
It's illegal there. It's illegal there in Austria and in Germany.
Exactly. Maybe get put into some solitary confinement to think about his sins.
Wow. And we got 2,509 of you with us this evening. That's a record, guys.
Congratulations to the 2,509th person. You've now set a record. I can go if you like, Hoax.
Go for it, Lena.
All right. Here's Trump. Look at me. Look at me. It's all about me. How do I get the world's attention? I talk about China. Let's talk about money, but in the form of bullets, like in the sense of he's doing this to provoke, he's doing it for the audience at home. China, on the other hand, is doing quiet calculations, just saying, well, watch this imbecile play out. This is why I'm using the circus cards. They will just entertain this folly for only so long. And then comes the tower moment. So I think he'll either not put the tariffs on China, because it impacts the whole world like everything else, unfortunately. And I think this could be something that makes Trump look really bad at home eventually, because he's going to talk it up, and possibly not do it. And then he looks weak and stupid and pathetic as he is, I hope. That is what.
Fascinating. Lady G, would you like to go next?
Well, I got, believe it or not, 5 major arcana.
Oof.
Never has that ever
never happened.
Never happens. 5 major arcana. So coming into it is his craziness, his dark backdoor deal that he thinks he's got going, that he's so smart, but the energy coming into it will bring judgment because of what his attempted manipulations, as usual. And the challenge is the strength of it, with the outcome being justice. So something is going to turn around with it.
Yeah.
When it comes to Trump, it's not going to be good for Trump. Not going to be good.
Wow. Sheila, what cards do you have?
Mine are almost exactly like Lady G's, to be honest with you. The same. I got the Hangman with the Emperor. Like, you see him on the throne, the Hangman. He has now transitioned out of what he said, as he always does. What he said and what he acts like is always totally different. However, I got the Page of Swords. So his message about the business, people, his base is really excited about that. And they're going to hold him to the fire. They're going to hold him to the fire. They're going to literally really come down on it. I got the Ace of Wands. They're not gonna. His people are not gonna let up. But he's that Gemini. He's that Gemini. He can snaggle his way around it, right? But his people have the Ace of Wands on that. The clarity, the new cycle. They're like, hey, we're not supposed to like China. And then the judgment comes up. He's trying to run away from this judgment as usual. He's trying to run away. But I think the two most important cards out of my reading are these. His people are going to hold him to the fire.
Yeah.
Oh.
Awesome.
He's going to have a real mess up with this with his people.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's going to impact their businesses and everything.
Yeah. So, everyone who's selling a product is selling it from China. Like, small business.
And apparently, many of the people viewing. I know a lot of us watch Midas Touch, don't we? At least a bit of independent media. To get some perspective. The whole legacy media thing, I take with a watch very, very little of that now, because I just think anyway. But it's not about my personal opinion there. But when they've been speaking to people with like the mass deportations, and the farmers have been saying, well, if they get deported, then we're going to close down in a couple of days, like if it happens. So they've been like, so they're voting for him, and they're going, well, I hope the mass deportations don't happen. It's like, well, that's what you voted for. And I saw this one where they were talking to these educators in Kentucky. I think it was in Kentucky. And they were talking how critical it was for them to have funding for their state schools or state funding. And they're like, oh my God, if we lose that funding, we're not going to be able to teach anyone. And they'll be like, who did you vote for? Trump. And they were like, well, isn't this what he was saying? Well, I don't think that's what people really want. So do you know what I mean? There's this deny. It's just too astonishing.
Their racism.
Let me just say a quick more thank yous.
Any good decisions. Their racism superseded any good decision.
Indeed.
Exactly. That sums it up. Thank you, Judy.
I just want to say a quick few thank yous. So thank you, Judy. Thank you, Rose Blue. Much appreciated. Thank you, Patrick, for your donation. Much appreciated. Oh gosh, there's lots coming in here. Carol, thank you so much. East Coast family. I can't read all of that. Sorry. And then Sandy, I think that's another one from Sandy. H, how do I say that? Honkala. Is that right? Maybe? And then Scarlett. Oh, look at that cute little doggy. And KY, thank you so much as well. Oh my God, these generous donations. Thank you so much. Very appreciated by everyone. And we have 2,716. of you here, which is a record smash. So
Record smashing.
in terms of people watching, so much appreciated. We really appreciate you spending your time with us and dialing in, and the way that you're supporting the show. And please, of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to support the show. And you will find the ladies' details in the video description after I post that after the live. Yeah. So if we look here, look at this. Tariffs, blah, blah, blah. Has he gone soft sweet on China? Look, here is Duck Larange as the smug merchant. How appropriate. Sitting there with his arrogance saying, well, you know, when we did all of these tariffs back in 1814 something, yeah, when it was a completely different world, and even then there weren't tariffs on absolutely everything. He's like, this is when we were at our richest back in the 1700s and the 1800s. You know why? Because slavery is free.
Slavery,
yeah,
underpin their wealth.
Free labor, biatch. Yeah, free effing labor. Anyway, plus tariffs and stuff like that. But it's just ludicrous. You can't compare how a country was hundreds of years ago and expect it to have the same in an interconnected. Anyway, so this is him, the smug merchant. Yeah, tariffs are my favorite word, he says. However, you never want the sun coming out in the obstacle position, don't you? Because when the sun turns up in the obstacle position, that is that's the universe giving you the big FU on your BS. Yeah, because everyone's like, wait a minute, this is rubbish. Yeah, this ain't gonna work. Yeah, the whole world can see this isn't gonna work, and this is probably why he has not announced anything on China yet, because of course Elon Musk would have been giving him very detailed reasons as to why. However, Duck Larange is thinking about his personal enrichment. Surprise, surprise. Yeah.
Another 9.
He's done his meme coin grift. Yeah, he's done his meme coin grift.
Yeah.
He's become a billionaire. I mean, talk about using the office. Yeah. I mean, technically it was 2 days before he was sworn in, but I mean, come on. Just like you said, Lady G. You remember Lady G said, she said, this is a pump and dump. Pump and dump. I remember those words. That's exactly what happened. One guy lost 1.2 million of his grandfather's fortune. Now his wife's left him. What an absolute muppet. Another one, 700,000 lost. So it's about Trump's personal enrichment. But remember too, the shadow of this card is what? Vanity. Yeah, he's exceedingly vain. If we look here, this is the card, of course, of Ace of Wands, initiating new projects, fertile new beginnings, etc. However, sometimes this can be a brutal stick. It can be like being hit over the head. So there is an element of, because now he's cozying up with Xi, because now he's saying, well, maybe Xi can bring the war to an end in Ukraine. Have you noticed the change in tone? So it's almost like for me, it's like China has more of the upper hand here. And you know, when you were reading on China, Lena, and you said they are just they're just waiting, biding their time. I think that's what they're doing. And particularly here, we get the High Priestess, which can talk about machinations, secret negotiations. I think a lot of this is like performative. There will be tariffs, but the fact that he has not slapped these tariffs immediately on China, like he said he would, just like how he said he would end the war in Ukraine on the first day, I think it's because of this. Just the reality check, the blazing, glaring realities that face him. Anything to add to that, ladies?
One comment here from Raymond. Thank you, Raymond. The only minority destroying the country are the billionaires.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Let's talk about minorities.
Don't forget, all of Trump's merchandise, literally was made in China.
Exactly.
Actually, that should be a new hat to go viral. Just put made in China on the hat instead of...
Yes, MAGA, made in China.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a slogan.
Yeah,
Someone
exactly,
wrote it,
exactly.
Probably make $1 million.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You heard it here
Let's
first.
see. Oh, gosh. The time, indeed, the time has gone so quickly. I wanted to make sure that I get, let's squeeze in. Okay, look, this is interesting. I want to know people's thoughts on this. And maybe this is something that we just debate here, because I feel like this is a bit of laundry, or there's some angst that I think people want addressing. And I just want to assess your feelings on it, ladies, and those in the chat as well. So this is more of a statement, but I think it was worth reading out. So this is coming from Tam Sea Salts. And what they've said is, I've just posted this to Harris and Tim Waltz's YouTube pages, as a comment on the last post under their community tab, I think. And then they say, please like and comment, etc., to amplify. But this is their perspective. But I want to just run this past you guys and those in the chat as well, and anyone watching. And they say, now this is what they've posted to Tim Watts and Kamala. I'm still waiting for you guys to step up and stop this sickening farce. Oh, wow, farce of leadership. So they're a bit angry with the Democrats. Mm-hmm. It was not a free or fair election. Yeah, there is so much evidence. And then there is too much evidence internationally, even not to even acknowledge it, let alone act to stop this. So they're really expressing their emotions here.
Yeah.
It's sincerely looking like there must have been something on all of you too to buy such united silence. All that happens is also laid on your hands and at your feet. We trusted you. And they say you have betrayed that trust with silent inaction. I hope I'm wrong to let go of hope. But this has gone too far, I think. Is it? But this is far gone. Is it hope or delusion? So, ladies, what are your thoughts on that statement? This feeling of silence. Do you feel that statement was fair, or you're in between, or do you agree? I just want to know. Sheila, what's your thoughts on that?
There was one reason why I never did a reading on Biden, especially when there was an election coming up, because I didn't want the Republicans to use that as a weapon, because what they like to do is let's say, hey, even the Democrats don't even like their people, right? So it really made it a horrible propaganda prop up for them. I am not sure positively that they haven't tried to do something. You know what I'm saying? It's not an easy task. It's not an easy thing. Just because, Trump, right after he got sworn in up on stage, admits to cheating, and how they did it. I don't know if I'm just double talking right now, but I hesitate by saying something extremely bad or be really angry at the Democrats, because what's left? What do we have left if we don't try to hold some sort of, reality in who or what we fighting for? Because that just kind of feels like a give up to me. I validate the feelings because I get a little upset too. There's no doubt that there's some sort of oomph to her words, and I applaud you for always speaking your mind and speaking your heart, for sure. But I kind of hesitate on that. We already are divided so much, and if we give up the only hope or the only lifeline that we have nothing. It's gone. So that's
Fascinating. Thanks for sharing that. Lena, what are your thoughts on that statement?
Oh, well, if we're going to run over 2 hours, I mean,
We'll see if we can squeeze one in, but I felt it was so important to talk about this.
Very important. And it's not one thing, this thing or that thing. It was accumulated stuff. Now, the problem from my perspective, from the outside looking in, is the Dems have stayed corporate, middle of the road for decades too long, right? Then Bernie, who had huge traction with young people, Bernie, who could explain wealth disparities that are the root of these issues in 5 minutes in a soundbite. Separate. No, he was repressed. They have such talent, the Dems. This is where I'm optimistic, in that second tier for different places. AOC for New York, but she's not going to cut it in the Bible Belt. So Pete Buttigieg in the Bible Belt. Pete Buttigieg isn't going to cut it in the old industrial states. So you put in Connor Lamb talking in the industrial states, looks like a GOP guy, ex-Marine or whatever. You've got the talent. Katie Porter talking kitchen table issues. She can destroy the pharmaceutical industry in 3 minutes. They would not let these people speak nationally. And so now the price, and I think we've got radical problems. When I say we, the world, via the United States, we need radical solutions, not Band-Aids. So more of the same is not going to work. Let it be more radical. Let the next tier speak. They're there. The talent's there. The passion's there.
Lady G, what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that Biden and Kamala were in a really difficult place with all of this. You know, if they say, oh, they cheated and they lied and all of that, and it's coming from Biden and Kamala, they're going to say, you know, that oh, yeah, you're just sore losers and this and that and all of that drama. But, you know, again, what's coming out now, there is a guy that does, what do you call it? Not polls, but he is really entrenched and ingrained in stuff. And he's looked at all of this. And what's coming out now was they repressed votes, so many votes in all these swing states. All of that is coming out now.
Totally.
That millions of votes were repressed. And so that he's got all that information coming in, being gathered now, besides what Elon Musk did in their buying votes, which he was buying votes in the swing states and also making changes to the votes. So all of this stuff is still being collated and collected and looked at. And I think that it's going to come out. And I think that Biden and Kamala had to be the statesmen and stand up and do what's needed at the time, rather than coming out and saying, well, it was stolen. And, you know, that's what Trump said. And it would have just put them in a really bad light. And they didn't have the wherewithal. They think Biden could go out and wave a magic wand and just put an end to it. But it doesn't work that way. So unfortunately, we have to wait until all of this information comes in of exactly what all has been done. And then it can be addressed at that point.
Wow.
It reminds yeah.
Hogarth, what do you think?
Oh, what do I think? What do I think? There's part of me where I just there's a part of me that just feels really, really sad. Just for where we are. Obviously, as you guys know, I'm always looking at the astrology and stuff like that. And God, sometimes I wish I could just kick the charts out the window. Yeah? honestly, sometimes I wish I could just kick the charts out the window and just ignore the movements of the planets and stuff like that. And but in a way, like my perspective on it is that there is such a big process going on. And I think there are so many things, particularly with this Plutonic energy. It's like so many things have to fall apart for that phoenix to rise from the ashes.
Yep.
And I would say what gives me hope and what gives me encouragement is that the scales are falling from the eyes of a lot of MAGA already. Not yet. It's not major rivers and seas yet, but there are already a lot of people that are just like, OMG, what have I done? Particularly as well if they need insulin.
Yes.
Yeah? Because insulin was at $35, guys, and I'm not even American, and I know that one. I know that one. And I need, a little bit of insulin myself, as we're not just a touch, because of whatever. And the idea that is now hundreds of dollars again, and that the vast majority, the highest insulin consumption is in red states. Absolutely. And those people are literally being kicked in the teeth immediately. It's not even been a week. It's not even been a week. So straight away, they've had a big crack round the face.
Absolutely.
And, people who lost money on Trump's meme coin, etc., and stuff like that. So there's part of me which is frustrated that all of us collectively are going through this. But I think what's different this time is that the illusion that Duc L'Orange has been able to maintain over the years is already quickly becoming destroyed.
Yes. Yeah. It's happening on fast forward, isn't it?
Yeah. Now it's on fast forward. I mean, I think Lady G, like you said, I think you're absolutely right. They did do what was the decent thing to do at the moment, at that time. But I'm going to confess, I wanted to see some knuckle. I wanted to see a bit of fight. I wanted to see maybe a little bit of dirty in there and just, at least just to throw a bit of pee in their faces, or at least be like, I protest, and, a little bit of gnashing of teeth and, what have you, even if it was just, symbolic. But the silence, I think for me, the silence was
crushing
something. But
it reminds me of the story. It reminds me of the story of the baby. Remember, there's two mothers that are in front of the king, and the king is trying to figure out which baby is which mother is the mother. Well, the king comes up with a solution. I can cut the baby in half. Just like if they would have protested, they could have cut this country in literal half. Or one of you will give up your rights to the baby. The real mother says, no, don't cut my baby in half. Let her have the baby. And because it was the true love of that mother who decided to keep keep the United States whole versus ripping it apart, may have also been a thought process. That story came up almost immediately when I'm watching them. They were not. Maybe in their hearts they knew better to rip this country more apart than it already is, and this country also has to be held accountable for their choices.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to be held accountable for our choices that we have made in this point in time. I don't know how to stop it. I don't know what to do at this point in time other than,
Well, that brings us to the R word, which is resistance. The worst thing that can happen is people going into their shells with frustration, and God knows people are frustrated and burnt out and exhausted. However, not a time to look away. So find your way as an individual. What can I do to be part of the resistance in my area? It might be like volunteering for a school board when you really didn't want to do any more admin work or something, just to be a voice for reason. There are a million ways to be part of the resistance, and that will be your legacy.
Yeah.
Right. I think the thing what we have to look at is when they went to the church and they were told the truth. Then we have the MAGA people. I had actually had one MAGA person come in and say that she had Trump derangement syndrome. The minister.
And it was at a prayer breakfast.
Exactly.
It was an hour in a Christian environment.
Nothing is funnier than watching the devil squirm in the pew of church.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but I don't think he was squirming through embarrassment or anything.
No,
he was squirming with rage, and he came out wanting her to apologize to him.
Yeah.
It wasn't a squirm. A lot of people have said, "Oh, that made him squirm." No, he was just going. Argh.
He was seething.
He was seething.
Yeah,
He was
seething.
seething.
Not squirming, seething.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
seething. So we
Close
just
the church. Close that church.
exactly.
Calls by some MAGA Christian. Sorry.
We need to continue to hold the line and put out the truth and stand for truth and not back down from it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And what I would say is, because we've run over time, I want to say thank you. We have 2,910 of you, so that's almost 3,000 of you watching now. That is astonishing. Thank you so much, and much appreciated. Of course, please don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel. And what was I going to say? For me, part of the resistance, which I think will really work, which is already happening in Europe, by the way. We didn't get a chance to talk about Elon, but whatever. But I can tell you already, never forget the power of the boycott. Remember, at the end of the day, with these malignant narcissists, as we've seen with all of these billionaires, all they care about is their pocketbooks.
Yep.
And when you people stop buying Teslas and all of this stuff and stop giving Elon
Amazon
your money to return, yeah, and I understand some people might be legitimate fans or etc. But you know, a lot of people are putting those stickers, isn't it? Remember, like, I bought this Tesla before I knew Elon was crazy. Well, now obviously now it's going to be before I knew he was a Nazi, yeah, which is basically what he is, for entertainment purposes only, but not. And I think people, like, there is power in that, because what's happening now is they said that in Europe, his Tesla stock is starting to go down already. The Dutch are already talking about, you know what, after that thing where we're all being gaslit, where we told that gesture was not all that we knew it was. In Europe, we're taking this very seriously. We know what Nazis are, you know, not that it's not saying that people don't, but it's having consequences on him already. So never forget that when you're feeling powerless, understand, right, I can make other choices. Do I need to be on Facebook? You know, a lot of people moving on to Blue Sky. That can all be accelerated. We can all make these little choices, and if enough people do it, it does add up. And that,
for example, with something like Amazon, you're not going to get millions and billions of people to boycott. So you have a day of boycott. Let's say the 3rd of August, no one buys anything on Amazon for one day, just one day.
Yeah,
you know, these sort of things can bite.
Absolutely. And I think we will see things like that, particularly as well as more and people wake up from the illusion. But we've gone way over. So
but it was a special episode.
I think so. And the Bard, of course, was just, my goodness. But I want to thank you, ladies, so much. So Sheila, of course, thank you so much for joining us. Lady G, thanks so much for joining us. Lena, thanks so much for joining us. We will leave it there. Thank you as well to the audience. We absolutely blew through our previous record. I mean, we've never had, you know, that many people, but much appreciated. Thank you for all the donations, the contributions, the love and support. We really do appreciate it. And of course, we will see you next week. So it's bye-bye for now.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah? All right.